Welcome to WO50, Women Over 50 Embody Wisdom and Wellness.
Oh, I sure hope we do. And one of the reasons why is about this topic, which is what's your poo telling you? The colors and shapes that reveal your unique health story.
Just like a snowflake, they're all different.
Oh, that's so great. It was actually, what did you say after we wrapped up this session? You said, who would have thought we could talk for so long and have so much fun talking about poo?
Talking about poo. The scoop on your poop. What a conversation. Like we talked about everything. Like if we left anything out, please let us know.
Yeah. Who would have thought it could have been so fun? But you make these topics really fun. But we had some good laughs, and so maybe you'll even might learn something about yourself, about your poo.
Yeah, we're attempting to normalize looking at your poop.
Mm-hmm.
Have a great.
Hi, Eddie.
Hello, Ken. How you doing?
I'm doing really good.
Good. Me too.
I pulled up some sweet potatoes today.
Yeah, you mentioned, and then you got a bee sting.
Yeah, I got a bee sting. It's my second bee sting in 2 weeks. But it's just because I keep telling the bees, I've got so many flowers for you outside. You don't need to eat on me.
I think they're just panicking because the election.
Yeah, but by the time this comes out,
yes,
we'll be long
the election will
past
be
the election.
Yes. Imagine, what are we going to be talking about then?
Mm-hmm. Just like in a year.
Different.
Yes, exactly. Same, but different is so true. Mm-hmm. So true. It's like, do you ever think about where you're going to be like a year from now?
Sometimes I don't spend too much time future thinking. I kind of think like I have little projects on the go, and then I think where they could be in a year, and then I come back
that's
to
what I'm saying.
Working on it. Yeah. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Lots of things being planned, I'm doing lots of little things.
What are you doing? Tell me before we dive in.
I'm writing. I'm working on my book. I'm working on music. I'm working on a product, which I'll give you more information on later, a nice natural product with a group here. And we'll see what happens with that. Mm-hmm. And I'm writing an article for a magazine. So I'm on all about beauty from the inside to the outside. So we're working on that. And it's for a fashion magazine. So I want to focus on more, what are we doing on the inside that reflects on the outside, right? So
That's your article's going to be
things. It's for that magazine issue. So I'm kind of going to be writing a little editorial. So
every month or season. So it's quarterly or
yes.
third. 4 seasons.
Quarterly.
Okay, quarterly.
Quarterly. Yeah.
Excellent.
What about yourself? You've been in your garden.
I've just been in the garden. That's mostly, get ready. And LA and I have, a lot of retreats, like 3 or 4 coming up for 2025. So just, getting ready for that. And I booked my tickets to Canada for Christmas.
That's great. The holidays are right around the corner. And, we just got to make sure we get all our potatoes in, and our fibers and our sweet potatoes and our solubles and insolubles, because we're going to talk about poo.
We're going to talk about poo. Do you think we've been avoiding talking about poo?
For the first sentence?
No.
Most people do. It's probably the most difficult conversation for people to have, is to talk about their poop. Like I remember my daughter, who's now like 30, when I was doing the potty training, I gave her this book called Everyone Eats and Everyone Poops.
Yeah.
And it was just normalizing how all the animals pooped. Yeah. And in the very last picture, it was a human pooping, and she got it. It was like, oh, this is how it's done. Like rabbits have button poops, and elephant has a big large, extra large, super athletic poop, and then it jokingly said, like, a 1-hump camel has a 1-hump poop, and a 2-hump camel has a 2-hump poop. Yeah. So
you know that one by heart. That one came back.
Yes, and she would laugh at me because all my patients, I always go, so Wash your poo. What's it like? Do you go every day? Like we
Yeah.
have the conversation
Yeah.
because it is a kind of a indicator light, one of our indicator lights on our
Right.
dashboard into
Right.
our gut health and our mental health,
Yeah.
believe it or not. It's all
Yeah.
interconnected.
Yeah. So maybe you can do a little synopsis of why it's how it's connected. How is your elimination connected to your state of mind?
Well, we have, we now know we have two brains. We have, two minds, one in the head, one in the gut. And there's a vagus nerve connects both. And we talked about that one podcast before.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is, and all the studies and the science is now behind us, which is great, that so many neurotransmitters, there's so much going on in the body, right? every
Mm-hmm.
every morsel you eat is a messaging system,
Mm-hmm.
right? And telling the body what to do. And once we have a beautiful GI tract that's been fed properly, we get lots of great nutrients, and then we're eliminating properly, we end up getting linings of our gut lining where 70% of our immune system is located. We get serotonin
Mm-hmm.
released. We get, the happy hormone action taking place. So
Mm-hmm.
that is part, a huge part of mental well-being. And we
Mm-hmm.
know how we feel when we can't eliminate, right? When what happens? Well, elimination is we're getting rid of toxins. We're
Right.
eliminating, we're getting rid of the debris. So what
Mm-hmm.
happens if we're not going or we're going
Where are
too
the toxins
fast?
going?
Yeah, where are they going? They're just getting reabsorbed.
Are
Just,
they?
yeah, we're
Yeah.
getting some, just ick right back
Mm-hmm.
into our system.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's got to eventually be get eliminated. But
Mm-hmm.
so many people, including kids, seniors, they take laxatives. They
Mm-hmm.
are on medication to try and get the bowels working,
Mm-hmm.
and we really have to take a look at, you know, lifestyle. What are we
Mm-hmm.
eating? What isn't working?
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah.
Colleen always says that psyllium is the best thing to get your poop going. What do you think?
It's great, but I have lots of people who can't take psyllium, but psyllium's awesome because,
Mm-hmm.
it's an insoluble fiber, which means it kind of glues things together that it
Mm-hmm.
pulls it out. Your poo is 75% water. And if it's not, like 25% of it is going to be the solids, fat, protein,
Mm-hmm.
old mucus, cellular debris, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when you put psyllium in, or things with peels, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
we actually clean up the bowel. We help with elimination. So psyllium is beautiful because it actually can help lower cholesterol because it's
Mm-hmm.
pulling fat and we're eliminating, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's so important. And yeah, I recommend psyllium a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people have been taking Metamucil, like in their
And that's
psyllium.
just psyllium,
That's
right? Yeah.
psyllium, yeah.
Yeah.
And I always say get the plain stuff. Don't get the stuff
Mm-hmm.
with the colors and the
The
dyes
sugars and
and
stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Just get the
Yeah.
plain stuff and mix it up, drink it. Don't take it with your medications or your supplements. Just take it away from food, a
Can you
couple hours after.
tell us why?
Well, because it draws in. So it's a drawing, and it will kind of if you mix Metamucil in water and you take a medication or a
Mm-hmm.
supplement,
Mm-hmm.
well, you're going to eliminate that medication because it's going
Right.
to get wrapped up in that fiber with the
Mm-hmm.
cellulose and all the other
Mm-hmm.
things that glue
Mm-hmm.
the waste material together, and then
Yeah.
it gets eliminated.
So take it
Or
separately,
take it separate. Yeah,
like kind of like your probiotics. Take
yeah.
separately. Then, if you're taking a colloidal silver or happen to be taking an antibiotic or
Hmm.
anything, yeah, take it separate.
Yeah, which,
Mm-hmm.
probiotics are great for the bowel. They're great
Mm-hmm.
for helping elimination. But, like every poop we have, every single poo is like a snowflake. There is no identical.
I just got that picture in my head. Every poo is like a snowflake.
A
That'd
squash
be a great book too.
snowflake. Yeah, it is. It's unique, right? It's going to be different every
That is so
single
true.
day.
That's so true.
Every day, like I've had people where they've had a B12 shot or they've eaten like too many beets and they think they're bleeding. They're
Yeah,
like,
they
my
think they're
poo's red.
dying.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm like, did you have beets yesterday? And now that's becoming more and more,
But sometimes people don't get the
knowledgeable.
memo,
No,
you
no.
know?
Same with blueberries. You eat too many blueberries. What color's your poo? Right? It
Yeah,
gets really
blue or
dark. There's the blue
spirulina. It can
tinge.
be greenish. Yeah,
Yeah, well, spinach
yeah,
turns things really green. So some of these foods that have those really high potent colors, right? They're
yeah.
really distinctive. That will color the stool a bit. But the normal color is brown and
Mm,
formed, which means it's getting the right blend into the body. And water is key. It's
mm-hmm,
key. You have to drink your water.
mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm.
got to. And when they start changing colors, like people say, well, what if there's floaters and sinkers and all that? Well, there's
Hmm.
too much fat if it's floating. You can't get it down the toilet, right? And when it's
Oh,
sinking,
that's different than it float because floating is good because that's fiber. But you
it's
mean
fiber
floating
and
that it won't go down. That means it's heavier with fat.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
gotcha.
fat and gas, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
you think when you eat a lot of beans, right? Or you're having a chocolate brownie that's loaded with black beans and
yeah,
avocado and it's real heavy.
yeah.
Well, the stool will be heavy, but most of our bowel movements on average are weighing about a pound. Isn't that wild?
What?
Yeah. A poop weighs about a pound.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you think about it because you eat a pound of food,
Yeah.
but by the time you
Exactly.
drink and eat, and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
uh-huh.
if you, yeah, so there's lots of things I do, with people I explain to them like green. We don't want green. We don't want yellow. Yellow often means there's a gallbladder or liver issue, pancreatic issue. Um,
Wasn't it you taught me years ago because I used to have a lot of yeast problems in my body,
mhm,
like not just yeast infections vaginally, but yeast problems in my whole body. So my
mhm.
poo was like a lightish brown,
Yeah. Yeah. So
and
there's the
that's
bile, right? The misuse of the bile.
mm,
Yeah. And I mean our poo tells us everything. So the when it's black, a lot of people think immediately blood in the stool. And a
mm,
lot of times that can be they're taking an iron supplement.
mm-hmm,
And so that means the discoloration is a higher bowel issue. So it's up in the upper GI tract, where when it's red, and we haven't done beets and we haven't had a
mm-hmm,
B12, there could be a bleed, and that means it's in the lower.
mm-hmm,
And that could tell us there's constipation or there's fissures or there's hemorrhoids, right? So
mm-hmm.
it's not always, people always think cancer or I got something wrong with my colon, but our bowels are very indicative of something going on. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like anything else we talk about is like prevention. So looking at your poo is like prevention to see what's working in your body.
Yeah.
So can I ask you a question? So my what is the upper so the in your digestion, the first part, large intestine,
Hmm.
what does that do?
Well, that's your low bowel. So you've got like your GI tract, which is from right when you eat to when you eliminate. So you got to
Hmm.
look at the body like it's a tube, like there's this tube. So we
Hmm.
put the food in and we get the nutrients out of what we eat and then we eliminate the waste, the toxins. And hopefully, when people have diarrhea, hopefully it's not going on too long because then they're losing a lot of nutrients too because
Hmm.
it needs to stop over for a little while in the
Hmm.
large
Hmm.
intestine. And
Hmm.
in the large intestine is where we start to get some more nutrients into the body. Yeah, so it goes into the mouth, goes down the eustachian tube, goes into the stomach or goes through the small intestine to the large intestine and then out.
Oh,
So
so the large intestine. So if you get like a colonoscopy, how high does that go?
well, it depends because so they'll do a full colonoscopy, which means it goes in through the rectum, up through the large intestine, and when it's a full colonoscopy, they go up into the small intestine. When
Mm.
it's partial and they're just doing a lower bowel, then
Hmm.
they don't go all the way into the small intestine. So
Hmm.
what happens is people will do scopes when they're
Hmm.
getting checked for celiac or GERDs, reflux,
Hmm.
those types of things. And they get the scope into the mouth down into the gut.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Pretty
I
amazing.
remember years ago, well, actually, yeah, probably many years ago. Um, I was very constipated. Remember when I took that, there was some product that I took
Hmm.
and and it was like a drink of some kind, and I just could not go to the bathroom. And then I finally got like a glycerin like, thing to try to make you go, and
To soften
it
it.
still didn't work. So I was so
Mhm.
embarrassed to tell you. And you made me feel so good because you were a nurse and you're like, you know what? It just happens sometime. And sometimes I hear stories. So I'm going to share this very vulnerable, very awful thing that I had to reach up to unclog with my little
Mhm.
fingers,
Yeah.
unclog the poo one time. And it was
Well,
just, but it's like, it's our
see,
body. So what's the big,
you would have made a great nurse because I've done that to people in the past in an emergency room. I mean, it's
right?
got to come out, which is why, you get little babies and children, and now we have these little tiny glycerin suppositories that you kind of, insert in the rectum, let it
Mhm.
melt, and it softens, because if there's not enough water, enough liquid, that hardens, and it's just like plugging. I
The
mean,
toilet, right?
yes, it's like, but your butthole, it gets plugged. This
Yeah.
all this stool just boom lands up there, and it keeps piling onto itself. And then, so many people, they're like, oh my goodness gracious, it's like giving birth, right?
Yeah.
So that's really uncomfortable. That's why it's so important. Your bowel health is, I think, one of the most important
Mm-hmm.
elements of,
Mm-hmm.
of our health and well-being, that
Mm-hmm.
we regulate it, that we teach it young,
Mm-hmm.
that, it's not years ago, it's hold it till you get home. Well, what do
Right.
you do if you hold it? Or I don't
Con-
want to use that bathroom. Yeah,
yeah.
people start getting constipated, or,
Or irritable
know,
bowel.
yeah, irritable bowel. And then we get IBS, and we have so many cases of irritable bowel. And then irritable
Mm-hmm.
bowel syndrome turns into irritable bowel disease. I suffered for almost 30 years of my life with digestive issues, bowel issues. And
Mm-hmm.
then in my late 20s was diagnosed celiac, and I
Mm-hmm.
had no idea. And my bowels were like, there was rhyme, no reason. Like it was diarrhea,
Yeah.
constipation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we don't talk enough about it, and we should,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it's hygiene, right? It's bowel hygiene,
Yeah.
sleep hygiene. We have, you know, so much goes on in the gut,
Mm-hmm.
and from the time we eat food to what gets eliminated, we
Mm-hmm.
need to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
and
medications usually do mess up the bowel, like they constipate.
they
And
constipate because
yeah.
they slow down peristalsis a little bit, which is
Mm-hmm.
like your natural movement, where, when you get that feeling, you need to go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why, like, insoluble and soluble fibers, soluble dissolve in water and insoluble don't. And that's why the
Mm-hmm.
peels, like, some people can't do well with peels. So I just tell them, just eat what you can, but
Mm-hmm.
until you build up a great digestive system, you might need
Mm-hmm.
enzymes,
Mm-hmm.
probiotics, whatever. Get some
Mm-hmm.
counseling or help around it all.
Mm-hmm.
But liquefy it, blend it up, put
Mm-hmm.
it in a little blender and mix these things together. Get some chia seeds and flax seeds and nuts, and mix it with avocado, and, like, get a little
Mm-hmm.
blend going.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually we do find, especially after 50, we start going, no, I can't eat that. That's not good in my belly, or that gives
Mm-hmm.
me diarrhea, or, oh no, I can't drink caffeine because right to the bathroom then. Can't play pickleball gotta wait till I come home and have my coffee. And yeah, it changes. We
Mm.
change, right? We're always changing, and it's unique. Every poop's different.
It is. I love that.
Believe me.
I'd never thought about that before, but it's so true. And so what do you usually say that the general idea, if it comes out like a banana?
Oh yeah, if it's soft and formed, like in the shape of like an S, that's perfect. Like I remember watching Dr. Oz years ago, and he said, the bowel is so important, and we want, the stool to look like an S. And I say to my patients, I don't care what consonant, vowel, as long as it looks like something coming out. That's you could look like an O.
Yeah.
You can, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
got to have some shape to it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's information for you, like you're saying, like if you educate yourself about some of this, because that's the thing is I feel like people, like you said, teaching it to children, if you're educated that to check out your poo and you learn the basics of it, then you know, oh, I'm not drinking enough water, or oh, it looks like I might have a little bit of yeast, or a lot of times
Hmm.
people don't check out their poo until they see blood in it, which
Yes.
a lot of times is like a hemorrhoids burst or something like that, or
Yeah.
fissure. What did you call it? A fissure?
Little
It's a little.
Fisher or yeah.
Well, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
sometimes I think that's fairly common in people at some point in their lives. What would that be?
Hmm.
Because the poo is hard and not enough
Well,
water,
it's
or
just, no, it's just, it could be weakened intestinal lining.
mm,
There's different reasons for them. And it takes a while to heal them. But again, we got to get the stool soft and
mm-hmm,
regulate it. Like the colon health is key. It's key
mm-hmm,
to well-being because there's
mm-hmm,
so much going on in the gut, with even our mental health, with how good we feel, the toxins that sit around too long, like it's got to get eliminated.
mm-hmm,
The immune health, your immune health. You think
mm-hmm.
about, that 70% of our immune health is all centered around our gut.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
we
that's
never,
amazing.
yeah, you think about like after Halloween now, all the candy that gets consumed and
Mm-hmm,
all that sugar and all the yeast that's going to overgrow and all that bacteria and
mm-hmm,
what happens? Belly aches,
mm-hmm.
can't poop. So how do we get it? We got to get it moving. And then there's other kids, like I've had kids and adults come in where the bowels, the stool is huge. It's huge. And then a lot of times they're not breaking down enough. They're taking in too much fat.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. And then they're embarrassed because they're farting. And I'm like, you have to fart. You got to fart. Like that's a release of gas. That's important. I think on average, an adult releases like 700 cc's, over 700 cc's of gas a day. And if it's smelly, like really bad smelly, that means they're not really breaking down stuff that agrees with them.
Yeah.
Because yeah, there's something. Hmm, what's in there? It ain't working in your body, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
When you're on a
yeah.
plane, or yeah. Yeah, interesting. Okay, this is all, yeah, some of this have you heard, I heard this recently, or maybe I saw it somewhere, that if you have a lot of gas, it could be liver tax your livers. Is
Yeah,
that,
a
yeah.
lot of times because yeah, liver and gallbladder because it deals a lot with the bile, deals a lot with
Mm-hmm.
like any any symptom from the body. There's something going on.
Mm-hmm.
There's something going on, and
Yeah.
a lot of the foods that cause a lot of gas are like beans, which we know,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes a lot of vegetables, right?
Mm-hmm.
Grains, we know bubbly drinks,
Mm-hmm.
carbonated stuff. A lot of people get a lot of gas with that, and some don't.
Mm-hmm.
Milk products, and one of the reasons milk creates a lot of gas is because some people are lactose intolerant
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have, they don't make that enzyme lactase in the body to
Mm-hmm.
break down the lactose. So sometimes an enzyme with that in it helps, and sometimes just avoiding it and switching it to nut milks
Yeah.
helps,
Or two, there's so many things because I have some friends that are either dairy free or dairy free altogether, and some of them are just lactose. So there's like no lactose cream cheese, no lactose sour cream, no lactose,
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
If they really needed it, I mean, there's also obviously so many great nut, all of those above vegan things that are so good.
Oh, yeah. And
But
it's getting better and
yeah,
better all the time, isn't
yeah.
it?
Hmm.
Like there's so many
Oh,
different
every day
choices.
there's something new, yeah, out.
Mhm.
It's
Yep.
really great. Yeah.
Yeah. And even when you're baking, like you're making recipes, you can't tell the difference. Like if you put in coconut milk instead of cow milk, and we do that first just to see how things go,
Yeah.
it usually you notice it pretty quick. It usually takes several days, but if you can do that for a week or two, you'll definitely notice a difference. Yeah.
Hmm.
And just kind of just, add different things in that are really good, like for your bowels, like for your gut, like, different things. If you can tolerate onion, garlic, turmeric, asparagus, leeks, like celery, all these they're kind of like prebiotic foods. They're kind of
Mm.
those are like foods for your bacteria that already live there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's who we want to feed.
Mm-hmm.
There's a
Yeah.
great film on Netflix right now called Hack Your Health.
Yes. So good.
It's a great
Okay, I'll
documentary.
make a
Everyone
note of
should
that.
watch that.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'll link it below. Well, I won't be able to link it below, but I'll put the name and
Yeah.
it's on Netflix, and so you can do a search for it.
Yeah.
So, and I
It
also put the name.
explains the poop.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, and then there also there's two books you recommend too. The What's Your Poo Telling You? That one you read, Alex, when she was little.
Oh yeah, this is no, the one everyone eats so everyone poops.
Oh, okay.
That's a really good one. I think the writer was Tara Gomi. It's a Japanese book, but it's like a children's book, but it's I keep it in my office because kids are sitting there and they're like, "Look, it's little tiny poops coming out of the rabbit," and then you get to the end and there's this human sitting on the toilet, right? It's an adult or a kid,
Uh-huh.
and the poop is just hanging out of his
Oh, kids love that. That's
the kids look at
hilarious.
me like, "Do you mean to have this here, like in your?" And one of my favorite ones is this book, "Watch Your Poo Telling You." Like
That's
the,
the
the
one I
whole-
thought that my colon therapist wrote.
no,
Okay.
no, the writer of this book, I think it's a real name, but
Hmm.
it's yeah, it could not be, but it's Anish Sheet, MD. So yeah, yeah.
It
Pick
has
the
shit in
bones out
it,
of
did
that
you say?
one. Yeah. Sheth. Say sheet? Dr. Sheet?
So it's Anit and Anit.
Ish. Anish. Like Anish.
So spell it. A-N.
It's like, this might be,
and
I could
it's
be promoting a
anus.
book that I'm
It's like,
like, what?
okay, just look up What's Your Poo Telling You and you'll find it. That's
Yeah. It's funny because I don't know, the universe is funny, like life is funny. When I looked up um, like even like when people pick up parasites and worms and things like that that change your poop because you're traveling, you get traveler's diarrhea. Like that's
yeah.
another thing that happens to poo.
Yeah.
There is it's a round worm and its name begins with ass. Like, so how would you ever forget that? An Ascaria lumbricoides. And it's picked up when people travel. It's kind of a gross topic. We're not going to talk about parasites. We're just talking about poo. But
Yeah.
they do get in your poo. Yeah.
Yep.
And they do come out in your poo.
Yes. Another reason to look at your poo.
Yeah, and fiber for those who travel and have, who are listening and have picked them up. And I've seen many people in my office with that condition. And psyllium is one of the best fibers to put into the body to draw these in and get them out. That's
Hmm.
the whole point of having a poop. Get
Hmm.
that shit out.
Yeah,
Yep,
I've had to do living in India for well, going traveling back and forth for 25 years. I've had to deal with a lot of those over years that you have helped me with. Every time I
yep,
come back, do a little detox and deal
yep.
with. And I've been sicker than others. I've had amoebas there and coming
Yes,
out
I
both
mean,
ends. And
that's
yeah,
the whole thing. When we travel, I mean, you can pick up like E. coli, which can be picked up in food on anywhere. It can be picked up if your toothbrush is too close to the toilet. I mean, that's been
wow,
found in the past. So that's why I tell people
wow,
like, yeah, hand washing when, from these microorganisms are tiny. There's billions that come out each day and we get rid of, right? Millions. And maybe not billions, but a lot. A lot. We won't start counting them as they're coming out, but just keep your toothbrush away from the toilet, like, yeah, 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 yeah.
wow.
We
That's
got to keep
crazy.
and especially with our animals too. Make sure your
Hmm.
toilet's clean. If they're getting in,
Hmm.
drinking out of your toilet, which I've seen lots of
Oh, they
animals,
love it. Yep.
they
Even
love it.
cats. Yep.
Yep, yep. But keep your toilet bowl clean. Don't keep
Hmm.
chemicals in it, but just keep it clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that Costco has, they're called blue notes or something like that. They're essential oils in little round things. And and there's a package of like 30 or 40 of them. And I just drop in my toilet every couple of days.
Yeah.
Just and
It's
they
good.
fizz up and and then
Yeah.
once every 10 days then I'll take the powerful stuff to it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It's
it's
real
interesting.
important.
Do you know Trevor Noah? He's so funny
Mhm.
comedian, and he said and it was in one of his jokes, was it? I think was that nobody, no matter how beautiful you are, you don't poop pretty.
That's right.
Nobody poops pretty.
Or cries pretty. You ever
Yeah,
seen people who
yeah,
are crying like, "Ah,"
yeah,
and
yeah,
our faces are all, I've
yeah,
never, like, even the most beautiful people on this planet, when they're crying,
yeah. But
we're not
even
very
so, but
pretty.
that's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
It
like
is.
that's the thing. Is like
Yeah.
crying is really beautiful.
Yeah. But poop's not beautiful.
No,
It's, it,
yeah, it's like everybody, it's such a taboo. It's so funny. It's kind of like sex. It's like everybody does it. That's how we all
yeah.
came to be on this planet. Is
Yeah.
everybody, somebody had sex in order
Nobody
for us to
talks
be here,
about it.
and nobody wants to talk about it.
Yes, yes, and hormones change, and skin dries, and our, you know, insides dry, and our ears get dry, and our lips shrink, and our skin, like, we have to talk about all these sensitive areas that are needing attention,
They're needing to
right?
shine the light because when we talk about it, it's not taboo anymore. Because what's the
Yeah.
definition? They say fear happens when you're not when there's like ignorance. So and I'm not talking all fear, but like fear of or whether it's earthquakes or snakes or whatever. If you learn about, if you educate yourself about earthquakes or about snakes, you won't have the fear anymore, or not the illogical fear. You might still
Yes.
not, you'll jump when you see a snake, but that's more of a surprise thing. But any fears you have that are sort of other than, emotional ones from childhood or whatever, but if any fears, like look at them and educate yourself about them if you
Hmm.
have a fear.
Well, this is why, in my office I do a stool test. It's with a company. It's my
Mm-hmm.
gut check, and it's here. And we've done it when you
Mm-hmm.
guys were up here,
Mm-hmm.
and it's beautiful because it gives a lot of information for each person, just like the individual snowflake.
Mm-hmm.
That sample is unique to that person. So,
Mm-hmm.
we can be eating from the same soil, and we kind of share some similar bacteria, but some of it's different. And then it gives us insight into how we're breaking food down, how we're absorbing it, what minerals we're missing, what nutrients we need, our mental health, our oxygenation. Like, there's so much information from just one little stool sample. And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's even stuff in our urine that gives us information.
Mm-hmm.
There's stuff in our blood that gives us information, right? Our
Mm-hmm.
blood work tells us so much.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just
Information is
another,
power.
it is just like you just said, it
Mm-hmm.
kind of dispels the fear myth over, oh, we're not pooping. Well, let's figure out why. Or I'm pooping
Mm-hmm.
too much. Let's figure out why.
Mm-hmm.
What do I need to soften it? Maybe I can find a certain food that moves through my body quickly and helps eliminate, right? Like, these are the things we want to look at. And we
Mm-hmm.
start with fiber. We start with fruits and vegetables, mostly vegetables. We start
Mm-hmm.
adding in our nuts and our seeds, our omegas, hemp hearts, flax, chia, protein, lots of water daily, keep
Mm-hmm.
the sugar low, and just make sure we're pooping. And people will ask, what's normal? Once a day? 3 times a day? Well, once a day to 3 times a day is the norm.
Yeah.
So
Is that people are different too? Yeah.
some people
That
say
way.
every three
Yeah.
or 4 days. I'm like, really? How much food have you
Yeah.
consumed?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if we're pooping out a pound at
Yeah.
a time, don't you want to get that out? This
Yeah.
is why people go, oh, I feel like I had an Olympic poo. I feel like I dropped 10 pounds. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
probably, right? We just feel, yeah. And then there's poops that we call ghost poopies. You think you had a poop and you go to wipe and there's nothing. What happened? And there's nothing in the toilet. I knew I'd get you on that one. It's like, where'd the poop go? Like, how many people now are laughing at that one?
Oh, that is so funny. And we laugh because we know it's like recognition. Although I have my little cushy tushy, I have a manual bidet. The
Yeah.
water comes up, it washes. So I'd not be wiping. Well, I pat dry now is what I do.
She could probably wash her hair with it. It's like,
Yeah, it's so powerful. Yeah. When I showed it to Eddie, she's like, "Woo!" It's
nope, not sitting on that toilet. No, no, no surprise. Hit the wrong flush button, right? You get 3 a.m.
it's when we went to Italy, it's like they have bidets there. I mean, I knew they'd have bidets in France and stuff in a lot of places in Europe. And I tried it and it was like, what's this? This is just like a little it's like a water fountain, like when you used to slurp out of water, but for your bum. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, that's just makes it wet and doesn't really clean anything. Mine, it's like it gives you a little
It's like a
colon cleaning.
fountain.
Gives a colon cleaning every time you do
It's like a
it.
fountain in
Cushy,
Portugal.
cushytushy.com. I'll link that too, because if you're
Oh yeah, I'm sure everyone's
interested,
signing up for that one.
actually, the people that I know, there are some people like you and my sister that just grosses them out. My sister's like, what? Where the water splashes all over. Well, where do you think she's like picturing the, I'm like, no, that's not what it is. It's like,
I know, it's funny. It's funny. So yeah,
oh my gosh. So yeah, some people are into it, some people aren't. So if you're
yeah,
into it, I will write cushy tushy and you can
yeah.
order
Well,
one.
it's the same. There's, all over North America, in Europe, all over the world, there's colon hydrotherapy. There's people
Right.
doing colon cleanses, and this
Do
is
you
kind of like
recommend those?
an enema. It's individually based.
Hmm.
For some people that the bowel, they're just not eliminating. Yeah,
Hmm.
same with like Senna and Dulcolax, and we got to get stuff moving. You got to get
Hmm.
stuff moving. Like it's
I,
anything to get it out, right?
yeah,
Like we got to get, yeah, you got to get the bowel moving. Same
I
with
never did it.
colonoscopies. Or
Yeah.
sorry, when someone has a colonoscopy and they do the big cleanse, right? They give them all that stuff to drink, and whew,
Well, awful.
that's,
It's the worst
yeah,
part of it.
that's, yeah, yeah. But
I'd rather get a hydrotherapy any day than a
yeah,
colonoscopy.
but
Yeah.
that's like a colonoscopy pre-cleanse is
Yeah.
is a huge detox, and I mean
Hmm.
people can have shivers and
Hmm.
shakes and
Yeah.
feel horrible, right? Even
Yeah.
before they go to get the
Yeah.
colonoscopy because they've just cleansed out all their bowel, right?
Yeah.
It's just like
Hmm.
cleaning the house,
Hmm.
top
Yeah.
to bottom,
Yeah.
in a short period of time.
I
Yeah.
don't get them so much anymore, but in my, I guess, 30s and 40s, I used to do, probably six hydrocolon therapies a year, something
Oh
like that.
yeah.
Sometimes I do
Yeah.
more. And I do it when I was cleansing. So I did the master cleanse one time, which was like a 10-day
Hmm.
fast with like this lemon drink. I can't
Yeah.
believe some of this stuff I did. And other cleanses, and I would go get, and they were amazing. But I never did it because I was constipated. I did it because it just felt very cleansing to do.
Yeah. There's so many different things. I mean, there's different types of enemas out there that yeah. But the
Hmm.
bowel health is very important. And
Yeah.
I do recommend, like for people that have colon cancer in their history, that
Hmm.
a colonoscopy definitely, or stool samples where they can check, they do blood
Hmm.
checks, and those are really important to do. Gut
Hmm.
checks, definitely important. So
Yeah, if you're in Canada and you're listening and you haven't done a gut check thing with Dr. Eddie, then I highly recommend that because it's
mhm.
awesome and she goes over it with you and something you have forever and it just gives you lots of
Yeah.
info. And if you're in the US, you unfortunately can't ship feces across the border, so she cannot until you go visit her in Newfoundland, and then you can see her. But there are some people doing it more and more. If you listen to Health, Dr. Huberman, and different things like that, there are places that are doing that now.
Oh, it's
Because
just amazing. I mean, you
yeah,
think about it, like even when you watch Hack Your Health on Netflix, the documentary,
yeah,
there's even a segment which surprised a lot of people that I tell to watch it, that there's a segment on um, the fecal transplants, it's called. And it's,
right.
yeah, and I'm going, wow, wow, you would have to have some major intestinal stuff going on. But they talk about that in the film. And that's just pretty much just repopulating good bacteria from a donor into your body. So it's putting somebody else's poop in your colon. Yeah. Yeah. just injecting it up there into your poop, mixed with your
Wow.
others. And they're called fecal transplants, and they've been pretty popular for lots of very ill people.
And
So
work well.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I don't have any patients personally that have done it. So,
Yeah.
but I did watch it on the documentary and thought, wow,
Mm-hmm.
it's incredible what we can do with
Mm-hmm.
science and
Mm-hmm.
with medicine right now, and just sharing this information. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
we're moving medicine forward. We're integrating stuff. We're talking about it. We're sharing it.
Mm-hmm.
And when we don't know, we'll research, and
Mm-hmm.
we open up the conversation, right, for people to
Mm-hmm.
kind of give us more information so we can share
Mm-hmm.
it. And if we say
Mm-hmm.
something that's not correct, let us know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because, whoops, I'm getting older. My memory might slip every now and again.
Yeah. Or words come out that you think you're saying a word and it's actually not the word it's,
It
yeah,
happens.
it does
Shit
happen. Yeah.
happens. I mean, it happens, right? Like,
That's awesome. That's
yeah.
awesome. What a fun topic, Ed. I mean, fun, you make it fun and you do make it fun but also information too, which is, I think you have many gifts, but that's one of your greatest gifts is you make, learning about your health and wellness and food really fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
Thank
true.
you. And you do all the other stuff.
Thanks. We can just focus on you right now, though. It's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay.
No, 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 but you do. It's a balance. It's a balance, right? It is a balance. It is
Yeah.
because you got to be in a very relaxed state. I read something. Oh my gosh, what was it? Oh gosh, what was the guy's name? King, one of them, not King Henry or King Louis or one of them, and it's where the throne, sitting on the throne, came from. It's 16 something. He would hold meetings on the throne in front of his people,
So
right?
he would be pooping while he was.
Totally comfortable in front of his people, and he felt very relaxed delivering two messages.
That's
Anyway,
crazy. That's
that's where the
crazy.
throne came from. I was like, oh, okay, I got
That's
to
where
remember that.
and I, it's weird that the toilet was invented back then sometime, like in the 1600s, like it
Yep.
hasn't changed. Like plumbing has changed,
Yeah.
but the idea of sitting on the throne, the toilet has not changed. And I think the only thing that some people have come up with that's better than that is the little stool, the poop stools because in order to have your knees a little higher, if
Yes.
is
Yeah.
is how you can poop better. So have you ever used one of
Yep.
those?
Yep.
They tuck right underneath your toilet. It's kind of, you don't even, and then when you sit down to go to the bathroom, you pull it ahead, and then your feet go up about maybe a foot higher than they
Oh,
are on
yeah.
the floor, or
Yeah.
maybe, yeah, a foot or foot and a half, and then your knees are up, and then it's a much better angle for your intestines to poop.
Yeah.
Kind
Makes
kind of like
sense because
delivery,
it's like a
squatting.
squat. Yeah.
Right.
It's like a
Yeah. When
squat.
you're
Yeah.
squatting to deliver a baby, that's much healthier
Yep.
than laying on your back, because that's not
Yes.
what's the way gravity's going, is not
No,
laying
that's
down. So they do hike women up in the bed, right, when they're delivering.
yeah.
But a squat is, and there are some women that deliver in a squat.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yes. Well, a lot of times you'll see that they stay in a squat till it's
They
time.
stay in the
Yeah.
squat the whole time.
Mm-hmm. A lot of
Wow.
times. All women are different. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just found the world leaders and their thrones. In the late 1600s, King Louis XIV of France regularly held official meetings while sitting on his beloved throne.
Wow. Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep. And then it started to change. Yeah. 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 So it was fun because the opposing ruler, it said, what opposing ruler could effectively negotiate with the king when faced with the constant threat of having to witness his majesty's next bowel movement?
That is
Oh
so
my,
funny.
too much information today.
No, it's not. We appreciate it, and I appreciate you, and Eddie and I appreciate y'all listening, because yeah, we just really appreciate it. We love getting comments, and
Mm-hmm.
And we-
And feel free to let us know what your poo telling you. What's the scoop on your poop?
that's right. Inquiring minds want to know. All right. See you next time. Love you.
Bye.